Hey, brothers and sisters, what's up? This is the Reluctant Navi back again. Um, and I was going through and I came across Sister Soldier, right? One of the older videos that I did, and I wanted to redo and play for you some of the things because I think we forget that we have some for real sisters that understand both the political in and outs as well as what really was done to the community. All right. And the problem is that no one is teaching the children because who is the so called backbone? Yes, that's right. You guessed it. You know, the BTNs, the bad tent nails, the ones that Abraham told Ishmael to get rid of because they don't hold up the house well. All right. So basically, men growing up from boys to men have to watch their back, finances, and seed. Because there's not many sisters like ladies. I mean, ladies like Sister Souljah left, right? The righteousness is now supported by the Anglos. That's the system. GoFundMe, Hollywood. All right. And when was the last time one of these bad tent nails actually had? That's why Abraham said replace them with another, because they never really had our back. May have been stabbing us in our back, but never really had our back. All right. So that's the issue. That's the problem. All right. We are dealing with a bunch of people that look like us that never had our back and see us as something only to be exploited as they exploited us when we were children. All right. But we want to hear Sister Soldier and poignant, very poignant. All right. So let's roll on. Real quick though, let's get those thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, click the notification bell to donate to my channel. My PayPal me link will be in the description box. All right. All right. So let's get those thumbs up. And remember, you take care of yourself and family first. Don't forget, when you subscribe, click that notification bell. All right. So let's get into this. All right. So they went in on Sister Soldier, tried to, and they asked her about the Clintons. And she made sure to tell you, let you know what is going on with that deal. All right. So I want you to really hear what is really going on. All right.
Would you support Hillary?
It all goes back to
Check
the
this out.
plantation, my brother. You know, you got the white master and his wife. And,
Mm.
they talk down to black people. They talk down to black people, which doesn't mean they haven't done anything good for black people. But there were some kind slave masters also, but they're still slave masters. And they still think of you as slaves. So when I think of things, I think of it metaphorically related to the plantation. I say, oh, well, Hillary Clinton, she worked for Obama, and she even talked down to Obama, the commander in chief, while she was under his command.
Right.
So I thought to myself, well, a slave master would have no problem with the slaves because they're doing what they're told. But for somebody like President Obama and his wife, both graduates of Harvard, you can't talk down to them. And so if you do, it probably means that, something you're telling on yourself.
Right.
If you can't get along with the person that you work for and you're talking down to the commander in chief when you work for him, that tells me something about you that kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Was there a quote that got misconstrued, or they just made up everything just to hang you?
I'm going to say it like this. I speak very clearly and very precisely. So I don't think things get messed up when I talk. I think I say it the right way, and then you can do something with it if you want. I mean, we're living in the Photoshop digital era,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you can chop anything up the way that you want, and you can label somebody and try to twist somebody's character. But the fact of the matter is, I'm Sister Souljah, lover of the people, and not just all talk. Somebody that organizes and builds and teaches, who has patience with the children and love from the community. So, yeah, that was their game they were playing, but I wasn't playing.
And Sister Souljah got a man. Yeah, she put on weight, but still got a man. You understand? But where are the women like that? Because Sister Souljah is one of a kind, but most of the women are the ones. Now, the community led by the BTNs produced this. Generations of non-caring, feeling, loving human beings, for lack of a better word to say and express, that don't care about nothing or no one and only see people as something to be exploited. Every commandment that was given to us by the Most High to follow, they decided to break it off. They put somebody else's hair on their head that was worshipped and prayed over to a god of destruction. All right, this is what was produced by the BFM, by the BTNs, for generations to generations. And just think, one may have made all of these, and then one of these will make all exponential multiplication of just wickedness. Think about that. And instead of worship, instead of giving honor to women like Sister Souljah, instead of getting with good brothers, instead of being good women, these females, for lack of a better word, these BTNs, these BFEMs, would rather be an afterthought than anything good. All right. The only time they want to be good is after they're worn out. And now they're like, why aren't you with us? Because really the whole time you was in your youth, you was trying to destroy the good. And now you got to pay the price. The other problem is, instead of giving honor to women like Sister Souljah, instead of being honorable women like Sister Souljah, right? What these ones decided to do was worship anything that is not productive in good people. Just worship it, right? The club became the new anthem, the new place to go. These women would leave their children in the homes to go to the club. We've had daily news stories about this. So much, it happens so much it's no longer news. All right. And this is the situation. All right. It's like you can't win. All right. Now, I wanted to do this real quick. This chart up here with the abortion one, right? People often ask, why do I put the wickedness of the community on the BFM, the BTNs? And the reason being is they choose by who they produce children with, the caliber of the community. In other words, a single good man can be a good pillar for the community, but if he's not the one being chosen to produce whose seeds that these women will carry to fruition, in a context where he gets to raise the family, where he gets to teach skill and stuff like that, if he's not the one chosen, if he's not the one followed, and they choose Pookies and Ray Rays instead, then that's their fault for the condition of the community. Pookie and Ray Ray are at fault for the condition of themselves. They made the choice to be a Pookie and Ray Ray. That's on them. But when the woman chooses them in her youth and produce all these children, the only good thing that a good man could do is run. All right? Run away from them. Because it is not our duty to raise someone else's child. All right? It is not our duty to pay the price for someone else's wickedness. The beefing was wicked, and so she needs to be punished. If the and Pookies and Ray Rays, let them get theirs too. You don't saddle up good men, and to the good men, if you cave and you go down that rabbit hole and take on the responsibility of another, then you are just as bad as the people that created the mess. We're supposed to replace that bad tent nail with another. We've been seeing for so long that this is destructive, that they haven't taught us anything. And they weren't going to teach us anything because they didn't care about us. Caring and love. If a woman loves a child, or if a woman has love for family and children, then she would choose somebody capable of being a good father, not somebody that she loved they swag and stuff, and I'm going to force him to be. Nope. But that's their mentality, because they really don't care. And you see by the way they treat the children. Now, I want to play part of this Sista Souljah thing. There were some issues at first, but I want you to hear what she was never taught, and she had to learn on her own. Like many of the rest of us that grew up with the single mother that didn't teach us a damn thing. Wasn't for my stepfather, I don't think I would be where I am right now. I don't know what man would have came into my life and even gave me enough guts that I would go into the army. Because let's be straight, a lot of these dudes, gang banging and stuff like that, will not go into the military because they're afraid. They're afraid that they can't follow instruction. They're afraid they can't learn. Whatever they're afraid of, they're afraid. That's the real reason why they can't get in. The other reason they can't get in, because nobody taught them anything. So they can't pass the ASVAB. Or they got too many criminal records on them. All right? But I want you to listen to what she has to say. All right, I think I fixed the Sista Souljah problem. All right, so this one you'll be able to hear her one. So check her out.
That how you design those programs. In all of the programs that I attended, all of the education that I had, college, public, and otherwise, nobody ever told me that I was an African woman. Nobody ever told me what the history of African people were. Nobody ever told me that America is business, and without business you will have nothing and be nothing. And nobody ever told me how to organize business so that I would be able to develop institutions in my own community. So now the sincerity of all of the programs and all of the education has to be questioned, indicted, and convicted, because the bottom line is that America America is not and has never tried to produce African adults who are functional, self-sufficient, who understand their politics, their economics, and their relationship to the world politics and the world economics.
With the NAACP, the Urban League, and the traditional We Shall Overcome civil rights leaders of the 50s and 60s that have been all but abandoned and ignored by younger people, Sista Souljah included.
I think that the dice are loaded, and that's what's left out of Mr. Brown's piece. See, there was a period of time in this country after Reconstruction where African people owned a lot of land, owned a lot of businesses, and did a lot of things. But what happened was the American government...
I want you to pay attention to that. At one point, we owned land, owned businesses. So we didn't always have a slave mentality the way people want you to believe. And the mentality we have now is not a slave mentality. It's a greed, selfish mentality.
The Ku Klux Klan and other organizations organized in smashing that effort. So it's not that we haven't tried to own land and have not organized businesses. It's that if you are African in America or in Latin America or in the Caribbean or in the continent, you will be hunted no matter what you do, because they do not want us to survive and become self-sufficient. And you can say no, but you haven't lived this life. You haven't lived this life.
And to be happy, I'm talking about that. All right. Now, to paraphrase Senator Bradley of New Jersey, the state from which your piece was...
Senator Bradley gets much right when he talks.
He does, and he, among other things, and he's not claiming to be particularly original with the observation, we can't get there unless we go together. I have a terrible feeling that behind me are some people who do not agree.
Senator Bradley of the all-white United States Senate said we can't get there unless we all go there together. Sorry, none of us are where he is. That's number one. Number two, you're making a moral appeal to a country that doesn't have a moral conscience. The question becomes that when white people feel serious and angry and upset about abortion, they come out in the thousands up to the millions to say, this is what we believe about abortion. Where is the white outcry against white racism that murders African people all around this entire globe? It doesn't exist. So who are these white good people? I want to meet them. I want to see them. A few is not enough.
But that might be all we can get.
No. And guess what? I don't work with all I can get. What I work with is what I have. Listen, you have to have some confidence in the power of African people amongst ourselves to establish a foundation. We have. We have utter chaos in our cities, and you've got to say that. You can have a program. I'm not saying we've built a lot of institutions, and those institutions have not been effective. The majority of millions of African youth in this country are dying mentally, dying spiritually, dying emotionally, dying academically. And you may have a program, Mr. Brown may have a program, but what we got to talk about is an American government that tracks millions of African people who don't go to your program, don't go to Brown's program, millions of African people, not only here, but all around the world. And if we are not honest enough to say who are our friends, who are our enemies, to know what a friend is, to know what an enemy is, we will constantly be trying to get into people's parties, to shake our butts with them, to get them to like us, and that's not the question. The question is, what can we build amongst ourselves to secure ourselves from our enemies so that we will be able to survive into the future?
Mayor Kelly.
That's enough to know that if I walk out Washington, D.C. tonight, some black kid in Washington, D.C. is blowing up another black kid's head for a pair of sneakers because the institutions that we're talking about, not the things that we hold up to say, look, this is one example. The institutions that we're talking about are not saving the minds of those African children. That is the honest truth. None of these Negroes saved me. None of these Negroes saved me. None of them. Listen, you know who saved me? A man named John Desane in Englewood, New Jersey, who told me who I was, who showed me my history, who told me who my
and letting them know what the real situation is in America.
And so when he said, did your mom didn't teach you? She said, no, a man did. Did your mom teach you? No, a man did. I hope y'all understood that. Now, you see the way these women are acting on TV? Why do they pick these women and write them in to act like this on TV? Because this is how they act in real life, and we knew this. So when we're consulting, they was like, oh, yep. And everybody is familiar with this kind of behavior. We shouldn't be, but we're familiar with it. And it's gotten worse. Now they're very animated. But we shouldn't be familiar with it, but we are. And the saddest part about all of this is instead of honoring and respecting and wanting your daughters to grow up to be more like Sista Souljah, these fake weave wearing BTNs want their little daughters to grow up like another fake Negro peon who has no real worth and no real good in her or anything. And this is what they want to be offered in the community. One last person I would like you to listen to. All right. I thought this was real cool. All right. Gil Scott Heron. All right. His story.
I was wondering about our yesterdays and digging through the rubble. And to say the least, somebody went to a hell of a lot of trouble to make sure that when we looked things up, we wouldn't fare too well. And we would come up with totally unreliable pictures of ourselves. But I've compiled what few facts I could, such as they are, to see if we could find out a little bit of something. And this is what I got so far. First, white folks discovered Africa. They claimed it fair and square. Cecil Rhodes couldn't have been robbing nobody because, hell, there wasn't nobody there. And white folks brought all the civilization because there wasn't none around. How could the folks be civilized when wasn't nobody writing nothing down? And just to prove all of their suspicions, well, didn't take too long. They found out that there were whole tribes of people in plain sight running around with no clothes on. That's right. The men, the women, the young, and the old righteous folks covered their eyes. And no time was spent considering the environment. Hell no, this just wasn't civilized. And another piece of information they had, or at least this is what we were taught, is that unlike the civilized people of Europe, these tribal units actually fought. And yes, there was some crude implements, and yes, there was primitive art, and yes, they were masters of hunting and fishing, and courtesy came from the heart. And yes, there was love and medicine, religion, intertribal communication by drum, but no paper, no pencils, and no other utensils, and hell, these folks never even heard of a gun. And this is why the colonies came, to stabilize the land, because the dark continent had copper and gold, and the discoverers had themselves a plan. They would discover all the places with promise. You didn't need no titles and deeds. Then they would appoint people to make everything legal, to sanction the trickery and greed. And back in the jungle, when the natives got restless, they would call it guerrilla attack. And they would never describe that the folks finally got wise and decided that they would fight back. And still, we are victims of word games. Semantics is always a bitch. Places once referred to as underdeveloped are now called mineral rich. And the game goes on eternally. Unity kept just beyond reach. Egypt and Libya used to be in Africa. They've now been moved to the Middle East. There are examples galore, I assure you. But if interpreting were left up to me, I'd be sure every time folks knew this version wasn't mine, which is why it is called his story.
With that said, I'm out. I think putting a B-film in charge of the community was somebody's wicked way of destroying it, knowing that these women would revel in that destruction. And it's sad that we have hardly any more Sista Souljahs left. I don't know of any personally. Any kind of woman that has the back of the community and a good man. I know they're out there because statistically they're out there. And that's sad that I have to fall back on statistics because I see so much wickedness on a daily basis. With that said, I'm out.